Allison. I'm excited for this call. It is such a joy to always get to do these calls and to hear the transformation that has happened in our life. And so let's dive in and just start talking about where you were before you found this program. How was life? What were you experiencing? How long were you facing vaginismus? So yeah, if you wouldn't mind sharing, and then we'll jump into where you are now.
Yeah. So I lost my virginity in high school and I wasn't saved. So I was sexually active up until my last boyfriend, who's now my husband. And then we were both saved together. So we had about 8 months of abstinence before we were married. And before that, I had completely pain-free sex. It was totally fine and enjoyable. And then on our wedding night, found out that we weren't able to even attempt PIV. We did attempt, but it just didn't work at all. And it was painful. And after that, I went to the gynecologist and they introduced me to vaginismus. And I did physical therapy for a year and a half. But essentially, we've been married for 5 years now in February. And we were able to achieve PIV, but it was really painful. And it was something I just pushed through and did for my husband and for his needs. And it was horrible. And obviously, I created this cycle of putting my body through that, and I felt so unsafe. So I just never wanted to have sex and was completely disinterested in all of that. So it just put a lot of strain on our relationship and found your program through a podcast and listened to it. So I knew that you were there and this program existed. And I think it still took another like 2 or 3 months for us to just get to a point where we were like, okay, we just need to take the next step and do something about this because this is just not working. So yeah.
Wow, okay. That's a lot. And
Yeah.
your story has so many difficult elements to it, and then a lot of really beautiful ones that have come out of that too. I can't imagine like that transformation between before you became believers, were able to have sex, and then abstained during those 8 months, I think you said, and then
Yeah.
wedding night. How crushing was that? Like, how did you respond to that?
I think it was just really confusing because I had just come from a place where we just expected what was going to happen and that was going to be totally fine. So I really had no idea what it was. And then I had never known anyone who had painful sex. So yeah, we just didn't know what to do. So we just avoided it until we got back home. We probably tried a few more times, but until I saw a doctor, we were just so confused. And then once I learned a little bit more about it, I did have a surgery during the time period that we were abstinent, and there was a lot of stress and stuff that happened during that time frame. So once it was explained to me, it made sense that I just could have stored all of that trauma and stress in my pelvic floor. But then, like, how to correct it from there, it was just really no information about it. But yeah, it was really confusing and stressful.
Of course, like I can't imagine just like okay, we try to do things right, and then now this is what we're experiencing, and then not feeling like the typical interventions were even helping. That has been a challenging season.
Yeah, for
And I'll
sure.
be honest though, it's not uncommon. I've had a good number of clients with a very similar story, and it's surprising to them on their wedding night when they run into what's called secondary vaginismus. We see beauty come through that in a sense too, and I think you're
Yeah.
getting to see that now. Okay, so you tried all the things, you went to the doctor and you went to pelvic floor therapy, and then you heard this program. I think you mentioned in the consult call that it was from with Java with Juli, who's an incredible woman and she does a great podcast. But okay, so then you did the consult call. How did you feel after that consult call?
I felt really hopeful because you just laid it all out and I saw how in depth it was and how you tackle it from all these different angles. And I had heard you speak previously in the podcast pretty at length about everything that you had gone through and things that had helped you. So I was already just prepped for, okay, this sounds like this is going to work. And it just made sense to me, like the way you explained everything and how it's like a whole systemic thing within our body and how it all ties together with the nervous system. And yeah, so I was really hopeful.
Wow. Okay, so hopeful, sign up for the program. Okay, so what would you say to someone who might be considering this program after you've done the consult call, you've done the program now? If someone's like in this, I don't know if this is a good fit, what would you say to them?
I think everyone will come to a point where they're like, I just have nothing left to do on my own. And like, you just might come to a point where in your relationship or you're not able to go to the gynecologist or whatever it is, you just come to a point where you just can't do it anymore on your own. And I knew that this was the only option for me because PT didn't really do anything for me and I didn't know of any other resources. So I just knew, even though it was an investment, that it was something I had to invest in if I wanted to see a change. And it's so important in a marriage to be able to connect in that way. So it's such a worthy investment as well. So maybe not letting yourself come to that point where you're just so desperate and just, I don't know what to do anymore. Just as soon as you find out about it, just do it because it's so worth it. And then the longer you wait, the longer you're going to be in this turmoil and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you say it's so worth it. So how are
Yeah.
things now then? Now that you've
Oh, great. Yeah, it's great. We're able to have PIV with no issues at all, pregnant with our second child.
Wow.
And yeah, our relationship is much better. We got to work on a lot of our just communication skills and just different aspects of our relationship throughout the program. Yeah, things in many aspects are way better.
Wow. So what were some of the biggest areas of growth that you maybe saw within your marriage and then also within yourself personally?
I think learning to communicate my needs was really, really challenging at first, but something so great and things that we need to do. So I think that's been a big area of growth for me. And that just helps my husband because he knows what he can be doing for me. And yeah. And I think just adding more like lightheartedness and play into our relationship has been nice. Other aspects of our relationship. Just intimacy, we got to work on intimacy in like many different facets, like even just with communication or looking at each other and things outside of PAV. So we've grown on different levels of intimacy there. And we've gotten to be like newlyweds in a sense, like we get to explore like new sexual things too. So that's fun. There's just no more like, we don't have that stress of it, just the vaginismus anymore. So it just feels a lot more lighthearted and fun and just how it should be.
Yeah, there's like a freedom now. Like you
Yeah,
can play without shame. You can explore without hesitation or the what ifs. And there's this, yeah, it's not like penetrative sex is this amazing like thing that fixes all, but it's that being free of how not being able to do that controls so much other stuff. And that
right.
freedom to take a deep breath and enjoy it and play. And I love how you keep saying play because I think that's a really beautiful way to describe the freedom aspect to it. Like when you're
Yeah.
playing, there is no fear, there is no hesitation, there is only exploration in a sense. So that I like that you're using that word. That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
well then how have you seen some change within yourself too?
I think I have a lot more compassion and self-love for myself and just I've learned to listen to my body a lot more and what it needs, which I think has been huge. I think I just have more awareness of my thoughts and my feelings. Yeah, I think just being a lot more regulated too, because I have more control over my thoughts has been like so huge. Yeah, I would say probably those are the biggest things.
Those are huge. Those are like being able to have control over your thoughts and know
Yeah,
how feelings intertwine with that and not to be controlled by those things. That's big. That's good work.
yeah,
So I guess on a similar line, would you say that you had any like mental breakthroughs while in the program?
yeah. I feel like all of my progress was due to like mental shifts that I had. And they were so small. Like, it's oh my gosh, that's like the most simplest thing ever, but it's so profound. It's crazy. Yeah, I think one was Olivia saying, it's a good thing that my husband desires me. And for some reason, because before I was just like grossed out by it, I'm like, again, like, why do you want me all the time? I don't want to do this. But that's such a beautiful thing that he desires me. So to cherish that, I was like, wow, yeah, that's so true. And that's such a small shift in your brain. And then she said something like, you don't have to get on the roller coaster to like crazy town. You don't have to take a thought and run with it. Like you can stop that thought there and try to reframe it and think about it in a different way instead of just going straight to the spiral. And again, that is so simple, but so profound. So yeah, those were huge mental breakthroughs for me.
Yeah, Olivia's got some incredible analogies and ways that she describes, and she's done so much deep healing work to get to that point.
Yeah.
I often hear Olivia's sweet Australian accent in my head as I go through this.
Maybe
Um,
it's the accent too. It just sticks in my
it
brain.
really does. I love her. I love that accent. So yeah, those are good. Like I really do think vaginismus is like it's not all in your head, but those mental shifts lead to body shifts. And that's why it's such a holistic approach to being able to be healed because we can't just do a mental shift without the body following or the body to do stuff without the brain following. They all have to be connected together.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So, how is penetrative sex now? It's good. You said no pain. You feel freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. It's awesome.
Awesome. And you desire it, like you want it.
Yeah. And I think another part of the mental shift too was just understanding responsive desire. Because I think I was always upset at myself for not spontaneously being like aroused and stuff. So just understanding that if I mentally commit to trying this right now, that can lead to be being aroused. And 90% of the time it does because I feel safe and I'm open to it. Yeah.
Love it. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, are you using dilators at all?
No.
Awesome. What'd you do with your dilators? You throw them away?
No, because yeah, they're so expensive. I don't want to have to buy them again if I did need them, like after pregnancy or something like that. But they're just in a drawer. I don't
Okay,
think
well, keep
about them.
them in a drawer. Don't need
Yeah.
them. After pregnancy, you could check in, but
Yeah.
vaginismus wise, girl, you don't need them. You're good.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
brain has built that new pathway, and it says, yeah, the other one's going to fade away into the abyss.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, then I always ask this on all of our celebration calls, but is penetrative sex worth it? Is it worth all this effort?
Oh yeah. And I think it's more than penetrative sex, which is I've gained so much through this program other than just that. But it is. It's part of God's design for our marriage and what he wants for us. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a connection like no other that we can have with our spouse.
Yeah. It is. It's deeply connecting, deeply vulnerable, deeply personal. But like we talked about, it's not just about this one thing, but that opens up the whole playground of intimacy even more, which gives us that safety and that freedom too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what's something that you wish every woman who has vaginismus would just believe or know?
I think that it is possible to change your mind and the way that you think and the way that you have progress. I think if you're just open to the change and open to putting in the work, that it can come and it will come. And it's just amazing. It's like you said, like I have just so much more freedom now from all of these changes that I've experienced in this program.
That's awesome. I appreciate your vulnerability and your willingness to just share your story and let others hear the deep work that you've done and the beauty that can come from that and the importance of kind of getting all of those pieces together, the mindset, the body, the spiritual side of things, all of that kind of coming together to support you better so that you can enjoy intimacy the way God has designed us to. And I appreciate that you see how worth it that is and how beautiful intimacy can be and that you're inspiring others to do the same. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And it's such a blessing. And we're sad to see you go, but I'm excited for this next phase of your life, especially with this new baby. So congrats.
Yeah. Thank you. And I can't thank you and Olivia enough for just this program. I know it was probably so much work and you had to do this yourself as well. And you've helped so many women. So we all can't thank you guys enough, but
It's a joy that the Lord lets us get to use what we experience in our past and the pain to be able to help women get through this, hopefully sooner than it took both of us, because it took me 8 years. It took her, I think, 14 years to get past vaginismus. So it's too long. 5 days is too long, but
yeah.
yeah. We have such a beautiful community of women who make it such a deep joy. So we're
Yeah,
happy.
definitely.
Awesome. Thank you, Allison. I really appreciate the time.
Yeah, of course.